This morning, the sermon begins with a little riddle. See if you can guess what I'm getting at. The riddle is, you cannot buy it, for it is worth all the money you have, but only you can give it. What might this be? This riddle is said to have come from the daughter of our Unitarian forebear, Ralph Waldo Emerson. This was her response to his question of, what do you want for your birthday? You cannot buy it, for it is worth all the money you have, but only you can give it. What do you think the answer is? Oh, yeah, well, the theme for today gave it away. Yourself. Give yourself, your presence, both your physical being and your attention. The gift of presence. When I say the gift of presence, I'm not talking about presents, boxes wrapped up with shiny bows, as we often think of in this season. In our church's theme year on the generous life, we're exploring different forms of generosity. And this month we look at what it means to be present. To say to others and to have others say to us, I'm here with you. And really mean it, not just in the physical sense. The story that we told earlier about a person going to be with their mother in the hospital as she dies is a beautiful illustration of the gift of presence. Being present with others often calls us into the present, the here, and itself is a gift, something that we can give each other not only when we are nearing the end of life, but each and every day. As the story begins, this person is scrubbing their boat free of barnacles. It's mundane work, hard work, and they don't particularly enjoy it, but it becomes meditative. It allows them to be in the moment, counting 1, 2, 3, following the rhythm of the waves. It is this practice of being in the present that grounds them and unknowingly prepares them to get that call from their family member. On the other end of the phone is panic, and as they enter the hustle and bustle of the city and encounter the frenetic energy of their family, they're able to be present to their mother in a way that the others cannot. Not quite yet, at least. This person's presence, the way that they sit down next to their mother, touch her gently, and sync their breath with hers, is a gift to her. And it is also a gift to the rest of the family as they gradually join in being present with their dying loved one. This person's presence in the room actually helped to ground everyone else as well. Now, the year that I spent as a hospital chaplain before I came here to this church was a series of scenes like this. I entered hospital rooms, waiting rooms, meeting rooms, where the anxiety and the tension ran high, and my role was to muster everything I had to show up calm, grounded, and non-anxious, to just be with people. My presence made more of a difference than my words most of the time. I doubt people remember much of what I said, but they remember that I, the chaplain, was there with them. And that was the biggest gift that I could give in that moment. Kate Braystrup, a Unitarian Universalist minister who serves as a chaplain to the main warden service, says her motto in chaplaincy is to show up, shut my mouth, and just be. What I found as a chaplain was that more often than not, the energy of the aunts and the uncles and the siblings coming and going as if they were boarding a subway train is more about them than it is about the person laying in bed. It's about their anxiety, their grief, their need to feel useful or to do or say something that will make things better for the person that they love. I would guess that many of us in this room have found ourselves in the role of the aunts and the uncles and the siblings in the story. The thing is, amidst all of the activity of that hospital room, the family was unable to be fully present to their loved one, which in times like that is what they need most. Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, "When you love someone, the best thing you can offer is your presence. How can you love if you are not there? Indeed, how can you love if you are not there? This is a bit of wisdom that all of us need to hear, whether we are a spouse or a parent, a sibling or a friend. For the subject of our story, it was working on a boat that grounded them, the practice of breathing and scrubbing along with the waves, which helped them to be present to their mother. What helps you to be present to what is happening in the lives of the people around you? What practice grounds you? It could be as simple as breath, the air that moves in and out of our lungs. After all, the Greek word pneuma means both breath as well as spirit or soul. Next time you find yourself in a stressful situation or with someone who is in distress, consider just stopping to be and to breathe. See how it affects you and others. Breathe with the other person until you are there with them. I know that this season is a stressful time for many. The holidays are upon us and all that that means. Many are working very hard. So many have lost loved ones recently or are grieving the anniversaries of loss. But many are also celebrating new life, babies and marriages. And all of these, whether joyful or sorrowful occasions, can sometimes cause us to lose our grounding. So I want to invite you to practice breathing here and now, to listen to the sounds of the life all around you filling this sanctuary, and to try to match your breath with those sounds. If you'll join me in being present here with one another just for a bit as we enter into a time of silence. Listening. So much of presence is about listening and also looking. The poet Denise Levertov writes in a poem, "Sometimes the mountain is hidden from me in veils of clouds. Sometimes I am hidden from the mountain in veils of inattention, apathy, fatigue. When I forget or refuse to go down to the shore or a few yards up the road on a clear day, to reconfirm that witnessing presence." I think many of us find ourselves like the mountain and the person, disconnected from each other's witnessing presence. Instead, we are looking down at our phones or looking to the next thing or pulled in many directions, anticipating and planning and worrying. Rarely can we just be with ourselves and with others, paying attention to the witnessing presence in our lives and being a witnessing presence for others. One person's presence has the power to shift the energy of a whole room. We know how this works. When the principal shows up in a classroom or the boss shows up in the office, people get nervous and the room falls silent. They don't have to use the quiet coyote tactic, though that is effective too. We know how it works when we're out driving down the road and we see a police officer with their radar out. Drivers touch their brakes. A leader with a powerful presence shifts a room by how they make people feel. How you are changes the energy around you, sometimes more than what you say or do. And this is what the person in our story brought to their family and to their mother. Presence is a gift because it strengthens our connections with one another, but it's also a powerful force in countering the disconnection and the divisiveness that we see all around us in this world that is so full of strife and arguing and judgment and blaming. Being present is an offering of grace to a world in distress. It is also an offering because when we are truly present with what's happening, we can recognize not only the ugliness all around us, but the goodness, that is unfolding as well. Your presence, how you are with others, as well as what you say and do, makes a difference. Our seventh Unitarian Universalist principle talks about the respect for the interdependent web of existence of which we are a part. And that is an acknowledgement of this, that presence makes a difference. It is a holy act of generosity when we are truly there with others, because it calls us to focus on something beyond ourselves and reveals to us truths about someone or some situation. When the person was present with their mother in the hospital room, they knew more about what was going on with her than anyone else, because they were literally breathing with her. Members of this church, which is bursting with people who are both caring and musical, recently formed a choir that offers the gift of presence and music to members who are hospitalized, homebound, or in hospice care. They call themselves the By Your Side Choir. Their first visit was to a beloved church member, Pat Tharp, shortly before he died on October 29th. Their presence made a difference to him and will undoubtedly make a difference to many as they continue their musical ministry of presence. Not only at bedsides, but here in this church, your presence matters, and it is important that you know that. This place would not be the same if you hadn't showed up this morning. Your choice to come to church here and to sit in these pews makes a difference. It makes a difference to the people that you interact with, whether they are strangers that you greet at the end of the service or longtime friends that you reconnect with. When you join your voice in song with the congregation, your presence changes things. When you lift up a prayer in the silence, your presence changes things. When you give and receive care, listening to others talk about their lives and sharing your own, your presence with each other matters. And when you teach our children, youth, or adults, your presence with them makes a difference as well. And not only by bedsides or within the walls of this church, but out in the larger community, this church's presence matters, as you've likely witnessed in many ways. Whether marching in the Pride Parade, showing up at City Hall, standing on the side of love outside or inside the Richardson Mosque, working at the food bank or North Dallas Shared Ministries or City Square, not only are we offering concrete help in many of these situations, but the simple act of showing up is an affirmation of our interdependence. We show up as religious people, the love people, as many people call us when we're wearing our yellow standing on the side of love shirts, saying, I support justice and affirm the inherent worth of all people because our well-being is connected. The presence of a racially diverse group showing up for racial justice is important. The presence of people of all genders and sexualities showing up for LGBT justice, justice for women, and our transgender siblings makes a statement. I've heard people at rallies say that they feel good knowing that religious people standing on the side of love are there. Our loving, joyful, passionate, and peaceful presence has an impact in those situations. We are known, and may we continue to be known, as the people who show up. There is powerful presence in silence, and there is powerful presence in taking a prophetic public stand. Both are needed. Each of us has something to give, and each of us needs these kinds of presence at different times. So I want you to think about what gift of presence you need right now, and also how you can ground yourself to be the presence that someone else needs, or to show up in such a powerful way that it shifts the energy of a room that desperately needs it. In this Advent season, as we await the birth of love, as we seek hope in the world, as we anticipate what is to come, and as we busy ourselves with all the things to do, being present with others and having others present with us will help us through. For it is truly being here with you, being with the people in our lives, that we make our way through the chaos of this world, and in the words of our principles, build a world community with peace liberty, and justice for all. May it be so. Amen.